All right, let's get right into it. We're about to journey back in time to an era when the internet was this wild new frontier, just packed with insane promises, and, well, it was heading for a spectacular collapse. This is the story of that crash, and, believe it or not, why it might have been the best thing that ever happened to the web.
No, really, just think about that for a second. This digital world we're all living in, right? The one that feels so permanent, so absolutely essential to everything we do. It was once so fragile that it nearly just blinked out of existence. Ah, yes, if you were online back in, say, 1995, you know this sound deep in your bones. That, my friends, was the sound of magic. It was a dial up modem slowly connecting you to this brand new universe. It was painful, for sure, but everybody agreed on one thing. This was the future. And that belief? Well, it kicked off a gold rush, an absolutely chaotic one. You gotta understand, the early internet wasn't this clean, simple place we know today. Oh, no. It was the Wild West. I mean, nobody really knew what it was for, but that almost didn't matter. Just being online felt like you were on the absolute cutting edge. You'd literally wait 5 minutes for a picture of a dancing baby to load, and you felt like a technological pioneer for doing it. So, when Wall Street finally caught on, they didn't just invest. They basically threw dump trucks full of money at it. Logic? Totally out the window. It was replaced entirely by pure uncut hype. And this is the kind of idea that suddenly got taken very, very seriously. A venture capitalist hears a pitch like this, and instead of laughing, they're seeing dollar signs. The idea? It uses AI, of course, to predict when public restrooms will be vacant. Sounds absolutely ridiculous, right? Well, an idea just like that could actually secure this much funding. $200 million. Suddenly, any idea, it didn't matter how flimsy it was, it seemed like a golden ticket as long as you slapped the .com on the end of it. And the investors, they weren't looking for boring stuff like revenue or a solid business plan. Nope. They were looking for the cool office perks, a pitch that used the word disruptive a lot, and most importantly, a willingness to just spend money as fast as you possibly could. Yeah, this whole Bronkers era revolved around a concept called the burn rate. You had infamous companies like Pets.com spending hundreds of dollars on TV ads just to sell a single bag of dog food, at a loss. In any other time, that's just business suicide. But back then, they called it scaling. In this was the mantra. Everyone was repeating it to themselves, over and over. This time, it's different. The old rules of economics? They just didn't apply anymore. Sound familiar? It's pretty much the battle cry of every single financial bubble in history. But of course, it wasn't different at all. And then, the music stopped. The wild, giddy euphoria of the gold rush was about to slam headfirst into the cold, hard reality of a crash. The numbers were just staggering. The Nasdaq, which is the stock exchange packed with all these tech companies, it pretty much quadrupled in just 2 years. And on March 10th, 2000, it hit its absolute peak. Champagne was flowing. It felt like a victory lap for this whole new economy. But what happened next? Well, it wasn't a dip. It was a complete and total collapse. The index plunged 78%, just wiping out years and years of gains in a brutal freefall. The party was officially, and painfully, over. And to put a number on it, $5 trillion in market value just evaporated. It vanished into thin air, taking the dreams and the life savings of millions of investors right along with it. The real-world impact was just devastating. You had companies that were worth billions one day, and they were being sold for their office furniture the next. The media, which had been celebrating the dot-com revolution, now had a new name for it, the dot-con.
And the cultural shockwave was just as severe. The perks vanished, investment money disappeared, and the very idea of working for an internet company became toxic. People actually started abandoning computer science degrees because they were so convinced the dream was dead. Well, here's the thing. The dream wasn't completely dead. As all those hype-fueled companies were burning to the ground, a few quiet builders were just getting started. I mean, this table really tells the whole story. On one side, you've got companies like Pets.com and Webvan, just burning through cash on ideas that were fundamentally broken. But on the other side, you have Amazon, Google, and eBay, and they were all quietly solving real problems for actual paying customers. See, the key difference was focus.
The survivors, they concentrated on really boring but essential things like profitability, customer needs, and just relentless execution. They weren't selling a dream, they were building a business. Even when Amazon stock fell 95%, Jeff Bezos just kept his head down, focused on one thing: getting books to customers cheaper and faster.
And here is the great, beautiful irony of this whole story. The crash that almost killed the internet actually built the foundation for the one we all use today. Think about it like this. All those dot-com companies, in their crazy frenzy, spent billions building out the roads and pipes of the internet. The fiber optic cables, the giant server farms. When they all went bankrupt, all that super expensive infrastructure was just left behind, and it was suddenly available for pennies on the dollar for the next generation of builders. And then, the final piece of the puzzle just clicked into place: the iPhone. It took all of that now cheap, robust infrastructure and put it right into our pockets. The internet stopped being a destination you dialed into. It became this constant personal layer of reality. So in the end, the bubble had to burst. It was like this necessary fire that cleared out all the unsustainable hype and left behind this incredibly fertile ground for something real, something truly lasting to finally grow. And that, of course, brings us to today. This cycle of hype, insane investment, and then correction, it's a constant in technology. The story of the dot-com bubble isn't just history, it's a pattern, which really makes you wonder, what if we're living inside the next big bubble right now?